Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play the entirety of this video without any interruptions, and then I'll go back and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that were done right and or done wrong. Without further ado, here we go.
The information, audio, and visuals you are about to see are intended to provide details of an officer-involved shooting which occurred on February 14, 2022 at approximately 10:48 p.m. in the roadway of the 11,300 block of Pensinger Road. An investigation into the use of force is being conducted to determine whether the actions of the officers were in compliance with law and department policy. At the conclusion of the criminal investigation, all of the details will be released to the Kern County District Attorney for independent review. Bakersfield Police Department officers are equipped with body-worn cameras. The cameras do not capture everything the officer saw or experienced and do not encompass the entirety of the investigation, which includes witness interviews, forensic processing, and administrative review. Conclusions about the officer's actions with regard to law and policy will not be made until the investigation is complete and all facts are known. Since the adoption of body-worn cameras, the Bakersfield Police Department has released footage of all officer-involved shootings. This footage is being released to the community to provide transparency. This video may contain strong language and graphic images which may be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. On February 14th at 10:34 p.m., the Bakersfield Police Department received a phone call from a subject who advised they were armed with a knife and were going to kill the next person they see. The caller advised they were at Pensinger Road and Windermere Street. The subject's face and voice have been obscured and or redacted throughout the video as required by law because he is a juvenile.
9-1.
Hello?
Do you have an emergency?
Yes.
Do you need police, fire, medical?
Police.
Okay, what's the address that you're at?
I'm off of Pensinger right now. I have a knife to really kill whoever is in front of me.
Officers arrived on scene and located the caller at Pensinger Road and Buena Vista Road around 10:44 p.m. The first body-worn camera footage is from a witness officer and begins as officers are in contact with the subject.
Doing back at Buena Vista and Pensinger. I believe I have the subject. He's on the south side of the road, walking eastbound towards Buena Vista.
Subject working on the south side of the road, walking eastbound towards Buena Vista. Code 33 on channel 2. Code 33 on channel 2.
Hey, bud! It's okay. Come here and talk to me. Come here. The ground for me. Lay down on the ground. Power up 3. I have the subject. He's on the property. He's on the south side, west of Buena Vista. I need you to drop the knife. You have to. I'm gonna shoot you. Power up 3. He's still in.
Subject's running.
He's not running.
That's not what's running.
This is 7. 10-9-7-7.
Need to block off traffic.
Power 310-9.
We need to block off traffic at the intersection of Buena Vista and Pensinger.
That's the one on this one.
Hey, bud, come back here! Turn off the siren. Stay right there, bud. He's got us drop it, bud. You have to drop it. No one's gonna hurt you, even if you want us to, bud. We're gonna get you help, but we gotta do it a different way. Drop the knife now. Yes, we do. You gotta drop it. We're gonna get you some help, but you gotta work with us. I need you to lay down the knife. Lay down the knife, bud. Who's got the lock?
Be able to talk to you and figure out what's going on.
What do you have? Do you have less lethal? You got lethal? Watch your backdrop. Do you have less lethal or lethal? I need you to go less lethal if we can. Stay there. Drop the knife. You have to drop it so we can get you some help. You have to drop it.
The intersection are still unblocked.
We need northbound and southbound Buena Vista shut down. At least a block on each direction. Drop the knife. Drop it. I'm less lethal. Less lethal. Bud, you have to drop it. Your dad does not. Less lethal first. We're not going to shoot you. You understand that? I don't care how much you ask. We have to get you help a different way. Stay there. Put the knife down now. We're going to, but you're going to put the knife down. You have to. You have to. We are not going to shoot you. You understand that? We're going to get you help, but we have to do it a different way. No one wants to get hurt. You understand that, right? You got the launcher? Mally, can you move around to my side? Can you move around here?
You're gonna be fine.
You're gonna be fine, bud. No, don't do it.
Hey, go ahead and
Don't do it.
for us.
Do not do it. Less lethal. Launcher and less lethal.
Johnson, I thought if he decided to launch it and he dropped.
Nobody has guns. We're not going to do it. We need you to go our way. We have the right way to do this, but you've got to drop the knife. Please drop it. I'm asking you so we can help you. Drop the knife. Down. He's down. Knife.
The following body-worn camera footage is from the involved officer who discharged his firearm one time.
1600 20 Fletcher. Holding bucket from DRP, causing injury. So far.
R9 officer contact. Is there a med unit available to respond to stage?
Yep.
Malik, is there
Hey,
any negotiators
if we use the launcher and he drops the knife, you want me to run over and take it away so we can get him in custody?
Drop the knife, bud. You're gonna get launcher. It's not gonna feel good. Drop the knife.
If he decided to launch it and
Nobody has guns. We're not going to do it. We need you to go our way. We have the right way to do this, but you've got to drop the knife. Please drop it. I'm asking you so we can help you. Drop the knife. Down. He's down. out, get knife!
998.
Officers immediately secured the knife and provided first aid to the juvenile until relieved by responding medical aid. The juvenile was discharged from the hospital the next day. This is an ongoing investigation. The Bakersfield Police Department's use of force policy, including the deadly force policy, is available to the public at www.bakersfieldpd.us.
All right.
www.
So another suicide by police type of incident. I've said this before. It sucks that these people are going through what it is they're going through, and it's getting to the point where they feel that terminating their life is going to solve all the problems. It will solve the problems. It'll just kind of permanently solve them, and there's nothing else to do. Is it the right thing to do? Under most circumstances, no. He's 15 years old. He's obviously able to be walking with both legs, has both arms. Probably mostly normal. Has a long life ahead of him. I highly doubt that the things that he thinks are so bad right now aren't even that bad in comparison to other things. So, like, if it was someone who was terminally ill with, like, brain cancer, and it was the choice of self-terminating and ending the pain or dying a slow, painful death, that's a given, right? Like, that's more of an acceptable kind of scenario. 15 years old with no obvious physical ailments, got a whole life in front of you. And so, obviously, the choice he's wanting to make is not the right choice. And it sucks. It really does. And so I sympathize with that. However, at the same time, it's an asshole move to force good people into a situation where they have to potentially take a life. That's not fair. So when people pull this suicide by police shit, I really wish they would just go down to the fucking ghetto and pull a suicide by gangster. Let some turd do the job, right? Like, if it's going to end up being a bad shoot, so to speak, I'd much rather a turd from society have to go through that than a good person have to go through that. It's not fair to these officers to have to be put in that position to where they have to have their hand forced to protect themselves, all because, someone, quite honestly, is just too chicken shit to do it themselves, right? I know that must sound like the most insensitive thing, but you know what? It is what it is. So the first responding officer, I think she does pretty good trying to build rapport with this guy, taking the more softer approach instead of doing the very loud, screaming verbal commands or whatever, talking softer to him, still being firm about, hey, you got to put the knife down, blah, blah, blah. But taking the de-escalation route. And so de-escalation is one of those buzzwords that's been floating around for the last couple years. It's been around, obviously, a lot longer than that, but the emphasis on it has been around, or has been more profound within the last couple of years. De-escalate, 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 de-escalate. And when you think about de-escalation, most of this training curriculum is based around it all being basically verbal judo. And it's mostly put together by people who do not do this line of work. It's mostly put together by people who have sociology or psychology degrees and work in some type of somewhat clinical setting, All right. And so how a situation is treated in a behavioral health facility is not the same as it being handled on the street. And, when stuff like this happens, there's always those few people who will comment, well, how do you think nurses handle it in a hospital? Well, you dumb fuck. This shit don't happen in the fucking hospital like this way because these little fuckers know that nurses don't carry guns. So they don't pull this stupid shit. They don't run at a nurse with a damn syringe saying, kill me, because they know the nurse can't do it. Now, do they do other things? Yeah, they certainly do other things, but situations like this don't really exist in a behavioral health type of scenario because they know the nurse is incapable of actually killing them. So this type of scenario, the way it works, it does not make any sense to me whatsoever to have a curriculum put together by a person who mostly works in a building, and that's where they deal with those problems is in that building. And some of these behavioral health places, they have the added benefit of being able to stick a person with a needle and give them some what's called booty juice, some very powerful sedatives that put the person in a nap, basically. That stuff doesn't really exist out on the streets. Now, there's some places with medics and stuff. There was some case, I forget where it was. I think it was like an autistic boy or something like that. I cannot remember the name of them. Of course, it was one of those cases where everyone screamed racism. They said the reason why he did it because he's black, but there's something about him. He was something autistic or something like that. And the police got a hold of him, and there was a medic or medics there, and they had something basically, I think, like a booty juice thing. But anyway, I digress. The de-escalation training, as I said, is mostly made by people who work in behavioral health type of settings, and they don't do this work. They don't deal with stuff on the street like this. And so when you model everything from a behavioral health facility, it's not going to transfer to the street. It's not going to be compatible. And this is where too much emphasis on verbal de-escalation causes catastrophic failures. Do some people get verbally de-escalated on the street? Yeah, sure, there are. But there's a lot of people who don't. Just like within the facilities, there's a lot of people who don't get verbally de-escalated, and they eventually have to go into a physical restraint. So in these medical health facilities, they have physical restraint training where basically they just dogpile a person in a sense, and they physically hold them down so that they cannot harm themselves or others. Here on the streets, when verbal de-escalation goes on for too long, the person becomes more mentally strong in their convictions and what they want to do. So he had the opportunity from, let's see here, when did she first get here? So at the 4:09 mark, she was out with him, and then all the way up until almost the 9-minute mark. So from the 4:09 to the 9:39 mark, he had all that time to do what he eventually ended up doing. He didn't do it. Why? Because he wasn't there mentally yet. Yeah, sure, he has come up with this plan to basically commit suicide by police, but he hasn't worked up the courage yet. He's still thinking about it. If he was 100% fully committed, the minute she got out of her car, he would have charged her. He would have ran straight for her to force her to shoot him. In that moment, he wasn't there. So from the 4-minute mark to the 9-minute mark, I mean, it's not that long period of time, but it is a long enough period of time for other things to possibly be implemented, or at least tried. The longer you wait, the more you talk, the stronger that person gets mentally. They are doing their visual affirmations. They are visualizing in their head what they're doing, playing it over and over like a video reel, and they're psyching themselves up. They're like it's like a little kid setting them up the diving board at the pool. There's going to be some hesitation before they fully commit to jumping off that diving board and doing a cannonball in the pool. There's going to be hesitation. Just like you see here, there's hesitation. He's not fully committed to making that plunge yet. And when it gets to the point of him doing the huffy puffy breathing in real deep, that is a sign right there that verbal de-escalation has miserably failed, and it's now time to up the ante. It's now time to go to another option. And that next option is using physical force. So sometimes the best way to de-escalate a situation is by using actual physical force. And I think that they failed to properly use physical force to keep it from him charging like he did. The minute he started doing that huffy puffy breathing, see here.
Bud, you have to drop it. Your dad does not. Less lethal first. We're not going to shoot you. You understand that? I don't care how much you ask. We have to get you help a different way. Stay there. Put the knife. You understand, right? Nobody has guns. We're not going to do it. We need you to go our way. We have the right way to do this, but you've got to drop the knife. Please drop it. I'm asking you so we can help you.
Although his although his face is blurred, you do see him do basically target glancing. He's looking around. That is a pre-assault indicator.
Drop the knife.
That right there, that heavy breathing.
Drop the knife.
At that point in time, this guy should have went ahead and deployed taser on him. They should have initiated contact on him. They should have abandoned the verbal judo, the verbal de-escalation that clearly was not working, and take it straight to physical force. And when you get to initiate contact, then someone has to react to you. When the other person initiates contact, now you're having to react to what they're doing. You're always going to be behind the curve when they get to initiate action. There's going to be a time delay in you recognizing a person's movements, in you going through your thinking process, committing to an action, going through the movements to commit to that action and doing the action. So if you ever played the hand slap game where you take both your hands and you place them out, let's say you place them out palms facing down, and the other person puts their hands under yours, palms facing up, and they get to make the first move. Generally, they're going to be able to pull their hands out from under yours and slap the top of your hands before you can yank them away, because action generally beats reaction. Now, there's some people who can move hands really quick and not get slapped, but a lot of people, they're not going to be able to yank their hands back fast enough to prevent their top of their hands from being smacked by the other player. There's going to be a bit of a delay. And so when oh boy here gets to initiate the action and starts charging forward, he's not immediately shot right here at the white line. This is his start line right here. He doesn't get shot until he's a little bit further forward, because there's a time delay in having to respond to someone's action. That's why it's always better if you can initiate action. So at that point right there, where he starts doing the heavy breathing, they should have just lit his ass up with the tasers at that point. And they have good enough spread, so they got the taser 7s, and the top dot is green. That's going to be your top probe placement, and then you got the red dot right here, and that's showing where bottom probe is going to be hitting. There's good enough spread right there. He's got shorts on. It looks like a thin material. This shirt he has on looks kind of like a sweater. It doesn't appear to be baggy. It appears to be somewhat, I wouldn't say form-fitting like an athletic shirt, but it doesn't seem excessively baggy to the point where I think that it would cause a clothing disconnect. So I fully believe that they would have been able to achieve NMI from this distance right here. And that should have been the option that they took. I like how she went from officer to officer, designating one as lethal and then at least designating one as less lethal. I think that on top of that, she should have just went ahead and had them start to initiate action. So they were talking about getting a launcher out. By a launcher, I can only imagine that they're probably referring to a 40 millimeter projectile launcher. 40 millimeter projectile launchers will fire a foam projectile, and the 40 millimeter launcher is basically like a breech loaded shotgun. So you crack it open, put one round in, lock it closed, fire it, break it back open, take the empty shell out, put a new shell in, close it, fire it. Very slow process. And the 40 millimeter projectile does cause pain, but if you watch enough videos of them, I don't think that they have a very high degree of success, nor do I think that the 12 gauge beanbags have a very high degree of success. There's just too many videos out there of people getting hit with them and it not really doing much to them. These are pain compliance weapons. Some people can fight through pain. Now, could he have fought through the pain? I don't know. He could have taken one 40 millimeter projectile to the stomach and doubled over and said, "The hell with this." No idea. But I don't think that based off of his body language that it was a wise idea to wait for that launcher to get there. I think they should have went ahead and initiated action with the tasers and attempted to drop him with NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation.
Down, he's down, hey!
The following
Down, he's down, hey! Down, he's down, hey!
The following body
If we use the launcher and it drops live, maybe run over and...
So this officer who ends up shooting is trying to game plan it with someone, and he's talking about just running up there and kicking the knife away if they have a successful outcome with a launcher.
Take it away. He just heard the launcher and...
Nobody has guns. We're not going to do it.
So that kind of tells you what this officer's mindset is. He's not thinking about wanting to shoot this guy. He don't even have his gun out. It looks like he draws from the holster and then fires. So, you know, that's contrary to what a lot of the anti-police people say. Police aren't out every day hoping to get to shoot someone. I mean, if any of these dudes were foaming at the mouth to want to shoot this guy, they would have fucking done it well before this. Ample opportunity, right? Like, Lots of moments of opportunity here for them to shoot. None of them take it. So this idea that the police are just out, just ready to shoot people, they're trigger happy. It's fucking bullshit. And this right here shows this officer's mindset is anything but wanting to shoot this guy. They are of the mindset of trying to get this resolved without him dying.
We need you to go our way. We have the right way to do this, but you've got to drop the knife. Please drop it. I'm asking you so we can help you. Okay, drop the knife.
You can hear the holster as he pulls the gun out.
Knife.
So that's a hell of a shot. That's almost competition quality right there. Very good reaction time, in my opinion, coming from a holstered gun. Not just a holstered gun, but a gun in a duty holster, one with multiple levels of retention. So competition shooters, they don't use duty grade holsters. That's just too much shit for them to mess with. That slows them down for the game. But yet he was able to draw his gun from a duty holster with different levels of security and retention built into it and put an incapacitating round on target really fast.
Officers immediately secured.
He's there.
So, playing it multiple times, the moment I notice that he is making movement, it's almost 2 seconds. Now, is a 2-second draw like, world-breaking record? No, it's not. But it's still a pretty damn good draw time, especially from a duty-grade holster, like I said, that has multiple levels of retention built into it. I would say that this officer most likely trains a little bit more above and beyond what his counterparts do. And or he may practice doing draws, at home, doing dry fire, stuff like that. Or he may, do it on shift, He works, looks like night shift, so there's a possibility, when nothing's going on and he's standing around his car in a parking lot, he could be practicing some draws or something like that. I don't know. I'd say he's probably a little bit more, I won't say squared away, but I'd say he's probably a little bit better off than most of his counterparts there, just based off getting to see this drawing right here. So they don't show anything else. They don't show any of the medical aid being provided or anything like that. The only thing they show on here is the knife that he had. There wasn't any other information available for this article. I tried to look, and it just basically summarizes some of the same stuff that you see in the video. Nothing, groundbreaking as far as information. Still haven't found any name on him. And that's pretty common with a lot of places when it comes to juveniles. A lot of places like to pretend like they're CIA. When it involves juveniles, they think that releasing juveniles' names is going to be a break in national security. I don't get it, but whatever. Other than that, there's nothing else to talk about for this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.